Shalom. Hello, people. We're back. And we're here to talk about some Bodo Glimt. Some Bodo / Glimt. What a weird name. What a strange name. But it's a Norwegian name. We're up against Nords. The Nords are back in town. And it's not a certain baby-faced assassin either. It's direct rivals in the Norwegian league to Molde, who are, of course, babyface assassins, previously managed team. But are they a team that should be taken lightly? Should we take them lightly? Let me just check one thing. Yeah, my headphones are not currently on mute, so they should be working absolutely fine. But nonetheless, they're a very, very on paper easy team to play against. They'll pose their challenges, and I suppose for a lot of United fans, coming off the back of Sunday, it's not necessarily a game that everyone's looking at like, oh my God, we've got to win, we've got to win. It's actually more of a game where it's, well, let's see just how much progression has been made between Sunday and then Thursday. So we'll be looking into what we can expect, what we hope to see, and sort of conversing what the aim is here. Big ups to Aces first in the chat. Anthony will be annoyed with his Bristol Rovers losing 2-0 to Blackpool. Yeah, he'll be very unhappy, I'm sure. Very unhappy. His beloved Bristol Rovers. It's imagine if it's a real thing that people can literally cheat on one team whilst seeing another team behind their main team's back. Imagine that. Imagine that infidelity in teams you support. To be honest, I think that infidelity is kind of worse. It's kind of worse, that sort of infidelity. Sporting Lisbon 1, Arsenal 3. Oh, okay. Well, Sporting are getting a bit of a fight back, a little bit of a comeback at least. But I'll tell you what, that Sporting team looks like it is feeling the departure of Amorim. Absolutely feeling the departure of Amorim. So sucks to be them. Genuinely sucks to be them. What was their recent record? What was their recent record? Have they? Okay, never mind. They ended up winning their last game 6-0. So there you go. There you go. There you go. But big game, important game, a very informative game on Thursday for Amorim's Reds. We're seeing a lot more information coming out from media reports, journalists talking about the vibes, the feelings going on in the Man United camp, and the sort of feeling that's going on is one that is encouraged. There's a bit of encouragement behind the scenes at Carrington. There's a bit of a togetherness. I think some people were looking at post-match against Ipswich. Amorim was just like, we could walk off here, but no, I want everyone, round everybody up to the away fans. Go and give them your applause. Show them your appreciation for their support. And that's, we got to see a bit of this, right? We do have to see a bit of this, a bit of connection between players and fans, because it feels like there's sometimes that sort of that lack of passion and desire to perform to the crowd that are backing you, that are cheering you on, and the away support. I think even though it's a small gesture, I think the away support are going to feel a bit of an encouragement to that. Though it wasn't a very good game on Sunday, they're going to see that and think this manager is fighting on our behalf, right? He cares about the fans, and he's going to sink that message that the fans are absolutely imperative to us moving forwards. So United should play reserves on Thursday night, and that's a point that I think a lot of, well, some Man United fans definitely are making, that they want as much time to be given to Amarim in being able to coach the first team players, the first team contingent, and I can definitely see reason to that. I can absolutely agree that that would be um, quite a significant thing to do. But for me, I feel like whilst there is the opportunity to spend more time in training, adapting, and really putting into effect the principles and the thinking of the thinking behind the system. I think having games intermittently sort of gives it lifetime practice, right? You're sort of playing against it. You're testing the fruits of a system consistently, and I think maybe it could be beneficial to the integration of a system, but it could also hamper it. I think it's going to be quite important and reliant on the impressions that the players have. And I personally, I would like to see, maybe not the strongest team possible, a little bit of rotation, but a team that's going to be, quite effective. And I think a team that does a good job is a momentum booster. There'll be a little bit of a happier vibe in the last couple of training sessions before the weekend playing against Everton. And then, of course, win there. You then you kick on to Arsenal midweek as well. Whilst, of course, still in the process of really getting up to speed with the new system that you're trying to implement. And I think being able to show the players in more game scenarios what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong, in more case scenarios rather than having a long amount of time where you're not actually playing against a competitive opponent. You can't really give as much of a analytical response or a data based response to what players do well and what players don't do so well. So I think it's a test, but one that I feel like this Man United system may be better, would be better off for it. Well, that didn't take him very long. City 2, then City 3, straight out of the blocks off of the halftime team talk, and Erling Haaland on a brace. Now he's on to a hat trick. Gundogan scoring in the 50th minute as well. Well, there you go. A little bit of a break from misery for Man City, but don't know about the upcoming tests in the Premier League when they go up against tougher opposition. But nonetheless, we have got tougher tests coming up, and I feel like, especially on the weekend against Everton, it's sort of your last chance to really hammer down, you know, good performances and momentum before you really go up against a really tough test and a tough away test. A tougher away test for Amarim's Man United going away to Arsenal. And Arsenal at home, I do feel like they'll be bouncing for that game. I do believe they are. I want to go into that game with us bouncing as well. I do. I want us to go in, goal guns blazing, go in there, shoot up the place. Well, not shoot up the place, but you know, fight. Like really, really show a lot of grit, and you know, rise to the challenge. Do I think Man United can do that? Can do that? Absolutely. I know it's very early days into the Amorim system. We've only played Ipswich away, and a lot of issues that we've seen from that performance on an individual basis. We'll see just how many players get it. We've already seen a lot of praise, given to certain individuals in the team, and I think it it can only progress. I believe it can only progress. So. So I was having a look at some of Maguire's quotes as well, because he's been talking. Harry Maguire's been talking, but yeah, I think the team that we'll have available for Thursday night, there's only really Lenny Oro and I think one other person that's guaranteed to not be fit to play. Beyond that, I think it's a relatively strong team, and there's Victor Lindelof, Yoro and Lindelof. Martinez is a question mark. I think he was training, but obviously not quite fit enough to make the matchday squad on Sunday. Maybe fit enough to make the bench on Thursday, but we'll have to wait and see on that. But I'm looking forward to this game. I think there's a lot of these games now, even the really tougher tests. I'm looking forward because I want to see what the level of progression is. And I think in terms of the mentality behind a lot of what goes on the training pitch, you can see if when players are responding well to what the manager is doing, and you can see when players are really skeptical and players that really don't, that they're not happy or enjoying what they're doing. It will. You can see it in terms of the body language, and I think with this constant notion that there are players that are speaking about the impact in terms of the feeling, the mood, the vibes, that everyone is feeling a lot more upbeat, like they're like they want to get stuck in. If they're like, I think you can sort of say, well, get to the games, get to the match days, and then we can see the proof of just what the vibe really is like at training. And I believe for a manager that's got so many big ideas and big changes that he's making to this team, there's a lot of players that are interested, intrigued, like the attention and interest is captured. And you see a lot of minds thinking, and it's a system that does really make you think. Probably you could say it's more or less there to promote football intelligence. Now, I suppose the questions you can ask is, can you really, improve a player's football intelligence? And some may say yes, others may say no. Some players just have it, other players don't. But I think you can adapt the sort of second naturisms in a player. And I think second naturisms is probably the best that it's going to get for some of the players. Beyond that, I think it's a case of just making the best of what you've got. And I think certain players we can see just aren't really going to have it. I think there's a lot of people that I think have probably called it a day on the likes of Joshua Zirkzee. I think every time he's on the pitch right now, it just seems like he's got no real impact of impression no real significance, and not really making himself be accounted for. And already the manager has openly critiqued something that the player wasn't doing in the match scenarios, saying, well, in that position for Xerxes, he needs to understand that he's got to be in the box to retrieve the cross. Right, he's got to be a target man um, in various regards, and I can agree with that given his stature. He's not very pacey, he's not very quick, but he's got a lot of height on him. And with a striker's instinct, you're meeting the ball in the air, and that's probably the case that he wants Xerxes to be using a striker's instinct to be in better positions. Because I mean, Marcus Rashford, although he wasn't very good himself, in a moment where it mattered, he put himself into a striker's position and got on the end of a cross, cut across to the near post and placed the ball in the back of the net. And if you're Xerxes, I mean, Højlund will be doing the striker things anyway, because Højlund will use the movement of a striker to be in good positions, and he uses his body well. In a sense, Xerxes should be doing what Højlund is doing in the striker position. It's just the case that we need to be able to make more chances for the strikers. But I just think with the nothingness performances that we're sort of getting from Xerxes at the moment, not having the confidence is not doing him any ounce of favours whatsoever. The guy's confidence looks absolutely rock bottom. Like, you can't get any less confident if you tried. Next stage, you could probably say, is he shitting himself before he comes on to the football pitch? So, if you've got a player that's sort of at that stage, you can already say, well, his career is pretty much done at this club. And the January transfer window just around the corner, and a need to invest for Amorim to sort of get bits and pieces of his system together, and players that do fit the mould for the system he wants to play, or show various attributes that an Amorim system may need, or players that Amorim can work with closely and work with well. Xerxes might be used more or less as a sacrificial lamb to that. Maybe looking to offload him to create a little bit of financial allowance to chase another target that can come in with the ambition and drive to make desirable impact. So Liverpool away on Sunday for Pep. Oof, that's a tough test. Really tough test. I know they're enjoying themselves a little bit tonight with beating Feyenoord, but Liverpool away. That is not a sort of game that you want to be going into right off the back of just turning it around, because you might get kicked back down to the dumps again. Sean Dyche defensive masterclass on Sunday, says Aces. So maybe it is. I mean, it goes with a back four with two holding midfielders, or if he opts for a back five. I don't know what sort of system it is that Sean Dyche will most likely implement. But yeah, definitely a manager that will probably prioritise defending. But it is away for Sean Dyche. You're going to Old Trafford. It's not the easiest game in the world for them. And, 2 home games in a row for Amorim starting tonight. Showcase between, again, progression against a European outfit, but also further progression against a Premier League outfit. Everton, will they deliver? We'll have to see. I mean, worst case scenario is that we play awfully on Thursday, get no confidence from it, go into Sunday, have a shock draw or loss to Everton, and then you got Arsenal away midweek. But if what we hear is true, that players are feeling more upbeat, then you'll see better performances individualistically on the football pitch. And if players start trying harder, you start to see more reciprocation to the implementation of the system. So Amarim ball, you might see a bit of Amarim ball prop up on Thursday and or Sunday. And if you see some of that, it's like, ooh, some of these players are really starting to get it now. And that puts the team in a really ideal position for when we come up against tougher tests. Maguire's been talking on Fridge Freezer Black Friday. Tell you what, we might need to hope that the football markets keep up a Black Friday sale in January, get some players in on the cheap that are of decent quality. That's what we need. Big up Fuzzy. Tony's still not Loppy in. That's a shame. Big up to you, Michael.Chelsea. Hope everything is well with you. Xerxes is terrible, mate. Doesn't really do himself any favours, I can't lie. If you're trying to... It's kind of like the statement that it's better to keep your mouth shut and have people think that you're stupid rather than to open it and prove them right. I think if it's Xerxes' case, everyone thinks you're a trashy footballer. But, just keep using a barrier of no confidence, essentially, rather than playing with confidence and still looking erratic on a football pitch. I think there's a really tough spot for him to be in. Arsenal 4, Sporting 1. Big ups to Anthony Herbert. To be fair, there's a few people that thought that you guys were going to go out to Sporting, to Lisbon, and get slapped up a bit, but that's not happened. That's not happened at all. Had goals from Saka, Havertz, Martinelli, and Gabriel, and nothing from Gyökeres. Nothing from Gyökeres. I'll tell you what would be interesting is, now that there's no Ruben Amorim, what if Gyökeres sort of loses a bit of that goal scoring edge? What do you reckon? Do you reckon he'll lose a bit of that shine, or do you think Gyökeres? It's just one game, and he'll upkeep his goal-scoring feats. Arsenal's end of the season campaign, trophyless again. Third place in the Premier League is something to be proud of. That, and you know what? That's something that we'll have to watch out for. I reckon we'll have to watch out for when we get to that time of the season. Any regression on the league table, and this is the thing that we've got to look out for, because they have marketed that going up, moving up a league position in from one season to the next is progression, guys. Is progression, and that's enough to warrant keeping Arteta on. But what happens when you go backwards? What happens if it's not a second place finish? What happens if it's a third, fourth place? What happens if you go backwards? Does the tune change again? Do we go back to top 4 trophies again? I wonder. Chelsea would be buying Victor Gyökeres in January for 90 million. Well, it's a very oddly specific fee. I think 90 million would probably have to be outside of the probably have to be outside of the buyout clause, because I think that buyout clause stands at about 100 million. So unless it's a negotiated figure, if Sporting want to let Gyökeres go in January, it's going to be for a very, very hefty price. Hugely hefty price. Way more so than it would be in the summer at any instance. Fair play to Fuzzy. He told me he prefers a floppy one to a loppy one. Well, that's why. That's why I call him Floppy Loppy. You know, he'll flop like a fish. Flops like a fish on the touchline. Or when there's a referee or an official that he doesn't like, he also flops around like a fish. So floppy, he got sent off to the stands. Just pressed the like button to Fuzz. Thank you very much, Anthony. And please do smash that like. And punch the subscribe button as well. If you're not subscribed, that is. If you are already subscribed, then you'll be unsubbing if you punch the subscribe button. Or if you're just punching the screen, then you're just breaking your computers or your phones. Sorry, I meant floppy. Floopy. No, I'm going to call it floopy now. It's floopy. Floopy loopy. Floppy loppy, the fruity loopy. Fruit Loops. But anyways, let's sort of team. What can we expect team wise? Is there going to be a lot of rotation on Thursday? I'm wondering. I think probably a little bit of rotation, not all that much. Definitely a little bit. And I know some fans are saying, bin the Europa League, Ruben. Bin the Europa League. It's not going to do you any favours. You know, just bypass it. Focus on the league and get as much time in between games as possible, and as much training as you can to implement your system. But I think with Amorim, for a guy that is, incessant on winning trophies, much like Ten Hag was, I think will we see Amorim bin off competitions? I probably wouldn't have thought so. But we don't truly know, to be honest. But for me, I think there's a trophy there to be won. Amorim will probably fancy his chances in going after one of those trophies at the very least. And I think Europa League is within touching distance. Absolutely. I don't see why not. I do not see why not. But it does matter what sort of a team, or it can depend on what sort of a team that we put out on Thursday. Fuzzy predictions on Arsenal versus West Ham this weekend. Arsenal versus West Ham. Arsenal 69, West Ham minus 1,000. Floppy Loppy sacked. Floopy Loopy. Loopy gets sacked. Loopy gets sooked. Floopy Loopy gets sooked. But not serious. Probably a 3-0, 3-1, 4-1 scoreline. I'm gonna have to pick one before tomorrow night. And see where it goes from there. Feyenoord have got one back against Man City. Monumental collapse coming. Let's see. Imagine if they actually do. I second that, Fuzzy. Bristol Rovers 0-2 Blackpool full time. There you go, Anthony. Bristol Rovers, your beloved team, your side chick team, has lost to Blackpool. Can't cheat on your main chick, Bristol City. The side chick is. Oh no, Bristol City. Both of your chicks have lost. Both your sad bitches have lost tonight. one of them to Elton John FC. Can't can't be doing that. But but yeah, hopefully we don't go doing that on Thursday. Don't let that song go down on me. I think that's one of Elton John's songs. I can't remember. Might be someone else completely. But but anyways, for Thursday, in terms of team news predictions, who do I think's getting the starts? Who do I think's getting a nod? Who do I think is getting a bench? I'd imagine that we'll see possibly Kobe Minor feature. I would like for Kobe Minor to feature. I think maybe Luke Shaw gets a start in there as well. Maybe Malacia on the left hand side. Maybe Malacia gets some minutes. I think Delict probably will get a start. Will Johnny Evans be featured again, or will he be benched in favour of or Harry Maguire? I think Harry Maguire's fit to play. Maybe we'll have Mazraoui, possibly Mazraoui. I know that he's very highly regarded as well by is Mazraoui by Ruben Amorim, and I don't disagree. I think probably as being our signing of the season, to be honest. Mazraoui, very cheap, very simple, very quick. Well, not very quick deal to do, but a very cheap deal, but massively cost effective, hugely cost effective. And it's sort of a Mazraoui deal that I'm hoping we sort of do in January. Some of these players, fairly decent quality, get them in on the cheap, but you can trust them. And that's what I like about Mazraoui. He's the steady Eddie player that you can absolutely trust. And yeah, I feel like will we do just that? I think there is an operation in place for between Ruben Amorim and the likes of Ashworth and and Wilcox, in sort of identifying some of these cheaper players and players with a bit of room to grow, players that have got some good qualities and good intelligence, some smarts about them, players that are very effective and very good athletically. There's plenty of players out there in the market, and the thing is that there's a lot of athletes in the modern day game right now. A lot of athletes, and as to a point that I made previously on another show, I think it was the Sunday Night Takeaway show, where people say that there's not really any players out there anymore that are like you can go and sign. I just think that there is not necessarily a lack of players, but rather players that you can go and get that are good, but they need the right environment and the right system to see more benefits occur for that player, more progression, better integration, a better growth of character, of personality that complements the ability. I think that there's a lot of players that make bad transfer decisions. I'll probably say in the modern game, a lot of players make bad transfer decisions. There's a lot of big wages that I think kill motivation and aspiration. Like players that make it to the big stage, I think contracts are very exorbitant, very exorbitant wages that I do feel like massively hamper players when they do come from lower divisions or smaller teams going to the bigger teams. So it's just like, well, I've made it. And in various regards, when you think you've made it, that's ultimately the beginning of the end of that player's legacy. You don't really surpass that once you've made it, or once in your mind you feel like you've made it. You don't really feel the sense of achievement, or you don't really recognise the reward of undergoing all of the struggles here and there. So yeah, to me, I do think that that we need to find ourselves some players that will be on the cheap, easy deals to do, but players that have got it all switched on up here. I'll tell you what, I did joke about Feyenoord's coming back against City, but they are now up to 3-2. They have just scored 2 goals and they're now in 1 goal's range, and they've got 10 minutes left. City could legitimately bottle a 3-0 lead. They've got Liverpool on Sunday as well. Robert Lewandowski, 100 Champions League goals from this penalty spot. 5-1 Arsenal. Yes, Ace is losing 1-0. Man, Arsenal, I tell you what, I don't know if it's Arsenal have just been that good, that scintillating, or whether Sporting have just been that bad. I don't know if it would be that Sporting have just been that bad. I mean, the Andrew Trossard, I think, got that goal. Atalanta 5-1 against Young Boys. Yeah, Young Boys again, not really a difficult team to beat. I think it's De Ketelaere. What a bloody game De Ketelaere has had. He's got 1, 2, 3. He's had 3 assists and 2 goals. 3 assists and 2 goals for De Ketelaere. Mad performance. What a night that guy's having. But yeah, what do I expect from a scorelines perspective for Thursday night? Well, judging that we may get some rotation and it's still sort of at the teething phase of a new system, I think goal stands for Feyenoord. So yeah, that is 3-2 there. I think because we're still in a sort of teething phase for Amorim's team and his system, I won't say that we're looking at any blowout scorelines. I think we can rule out big blowout wins or scorelines if we are making steady progression, at least until sort of tail end of January, February time, when there's been plenty of time with training and also playing games, and maybe with a couple of signings to add to that as well, to get stuck in the mix a little bit. Yeah, I think there's something to be said there. Something to be said about when we can expect Man United to be really turning into a machine. Atletico Madrid won 6-0 earlier. Yeah, Sparta Prague. I thought at first Sparta Prague were the team that lost 9-2 to Bayern, but no, that was Dinamo Zagreb. They don't play again till tomorrow. But yeah, man. Certain teams are enjoying the league format. Other teams not so much. Sparta Prague and Dinamo Zagreb can be 2 examples of that, and Young Boys. But yeah. But if I were to label the prediction with a scoreline, I'll probably go. I'll go 3. I'll go 3-1. I'm sort between 3-1 and 3-0. I'll say 3-1. and the goal comes from the boat. We concede a goal more so not from absolute brilliance of football, but I think maybe from a set piece as such. Because I can imagine that we've still got things to figure out. I think organisational skills, communications, or what sort of still be in the face of figuring that out. So I can imagine that maybe a small lapse of concentration might open the opportunities a little bit. But I'd expect a bit of desire on Thursday night, and we've seen various instances this season where when the pressure's not really on, this team likes to unwind and play very loose, play very fluid, and play to really just have fun. So I think again a mentality aspect of it. Maybe we'll see players just sort of out there having fun. Maybe we'll see players out there, just really pushing themselves, really, going for the jugular, driving for top-notch results. The old Champions League format was better. I'm a lot more used to the old European knockout football, the old European game formats. To be honest, I do feel a bit of sentiment to the older setup. I personally prefer the groups. I do prefer the groups. Not so much for the sake of there not being as many games, but I just feel like having 3 teams you play against twice, it's a bit of an intrigue because it's like exactly what's going on. You lose to a team for like the away leg, you say, "Oh, don't worry, take them back to the home leg, and we'll slap them." With this, it's just like you either win or lose your game, and then you move on to the next opponent, and you just keep going and going and going. So I'm not overly the biggest fan of this new group format, but maybe it's something that we just have to get used to over time. That will become a lot more natural to us over time. But yeah, we'll have to see. We'll have to see. But anyways, I'm going to wrap things up there, and hopefully, come Thursday, we'll have ourselves. I'm looking for a bit of enjoyment with the entertainment factor of football. I hope Manchester United can bring the entertainment factor. Comeback complete, guys. Comeback complete from 3-0 up Man City to 3-3 with Feyenoord at home. I don't know, guys. I think City might actually be in a crisis. Oh, that's bad. That's bad, bro. That's at home to Feyenoord, and you go from 3-0 up to 3-3, and that is in the latter stages of the second half. All 3 goals. Mental. Absolutely mental. Atalanta have gone now 6-1 up, so that's business as usual for them. Now, literally 3 goals from 75th minute to the 89th minute. That's absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. But anyways, I'm going to jump off. We'll be back again tomorrow night at 8:30 with the good, the bad, and the ugly. Of course, I'll probably be thrown into the ugly section, given that my team is the only team to have not won their game on last weekend. Hopefully, it will it'll be a change of tune that we go into next weekend and turn things around with a win. By Leverkusen 5-0, RB Salzburg. Yeah.
Barcelona now 3-0 up. But anyways, I'm going to wrap things up there. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please do smash a like on the stream and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And yes, we'll be back tomorrow, 8:30 p.m. for the good, the bad, and the ugly. And then, of course, post-match reaction on the Thursday night. Hopefully, it's a night to remember. Hopefully, we've got something to jump for joy about. And then, of course, the Friday, the preview for the Everton game as well. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care, and we'll see you back here again tomorrow for a bit of the holy trinity of YouTube. Well, actually, it's the unholy trinity, but you sort of get my point. Take care, people. Speak to you all again soon.